Hi everyone, Nicholas Buffett is here from sunny Cyprus and welcome to this tutorial. Now this tutorial is on the 2025 February-March paper. Variation is 2.1 and this particular tutorial focuses on task 3. Databases. Now, of course, if you want the other tasks of this paper, for example, task 1 and 2, which is the evidence document and word processing, or task 4, which is the presentation and chart design, just have a look in the playlist and you'll find everything that you're looking for right there. And while you're searching around, you might as well click like and, subscribe. Now, having a quick look at this paper, especially the task 3, this doesn't look like a very complicated paper. There are 2 queries and reports. They're quite straightforward. So let's get started. Okay, so first step, as always, is let's have a look at the question paper. So task 3 is databases. It says you're now going to prepare some reports. Make sure that all currency values display the same currency symbol. It doesn't say which symbol in particular. So it could be any symbol. You don't have to worry about that. These are set to 2 decimal places. Make sure all required data is fully visible. Again, if you set a data field to currency, it will automatically put the 2 decimal places. So again, nothing we need to worry about too much there. It now says in question 14, examine the file m2521seeds.csv and identify the most appropriate field to set as a primary key field. Import this file as a new table into your database software. Set the identified field as the primary key. Use these field names and data types. So the first thing I need to do is to open that M2521 seeds and I need to analyze it a little bit to have a look and see which field is the most appropriate for the primary key. So what I always suggest to do is now you have to be careful here, but you don't want to save anything. So I'm going to open up M2521 seeds. It's a CSV file and it will open up in Excel. So let me just drag this over here. So, and the beautiful thing is, because it opens up in Excel, I can use things like conditional formatting very quickly on this, but I'm not going to modify this or save the file in any way. I'm just going to analyze it. And the easiest way to do that is if I just click on this top left corner and then double click. Let's do that. So it selects everything and double click between any 2 columns. It will expand everything so I can see all of the data. Now, it's going to be very hard to identify which one is going to be the best field to set as a primary key. And the reason is because there's just too much data here. Now, you would instinctively say it's going to be the seed ID because it's got ID, but we need to make sure because they have in the past been a little bit tricky with these. So what I suggest you do is if you select all of this data, just go all the way down. So I simply clicked on that first cell. I let go and now I'm going to hold the shift button and click on the last cell, the bottom right. And that selects all of my data. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply conditional formatting. And if I go to conditional formatting, manage rules, from here I'm going to add a new rule and I want to add a rule which is going to be to identify unique or duplicate values. I want to identify all the duplicate values. Okay, so I want to see where there are duplicates. I'm going to format all of the cells which are duplicate values with a color. Let's say this orangey color here and click OK. And OK, and OK. Okay, so we can see here that where we've got column A, which is the type, we've got a lot of duplicates here, that all of that orange there. Now, variety is not that bad, but there are some duplicates here, which means these are not unique, these 2 here. So I can't use this field. In fact, the only one, and I can see from here, is the seed ID. This column doesn't have any orange cells at all, which means none of these values in column C, which is the seed ID, none of them have a duplicate. So all of these are unique. So this will have to be my primary key field. No other column has only white cells. Okay, so that's the easiest way to identify. So I'm going to close this Excel sheet, but I'm not going to save. Don't save because we don't want to modify the CSV file in any way. So the next step is I need to go and import this into a database. So I'm going to right click in my folder, new. I'm going to create a new Microsoft Access database. There we go. And from here, I'm just going to save this. I'm going to put this inside my folder with all my other files. And I'm just going to call this task 3db. Okay, that's the name of my database. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I need to import the CSV file. So I'm going to go to external data, new data source, from file, text file. From here, I'm going to browse. I'm going to go to the location where I have all of my files and I want to import m2521 seeds.csv. So I'm going to select that and click on open. Then I'm going to click on OK. And this should open up a dialog box, my import text wizard dialog box. I should be able to, inside this area here, I should be able to see all the text and it should be readable. And if that's the case, I can now move forward. From here, I'm importing a file as a new table. So that table, well, that file should have the field names for each column. And we can see that here it says type, variety, seed ID, price. So the first row contains field names. As soon as we tick that, it will highlight that bit there. Okay. And then we want to make sure this is comma separated. Now, if for some reason the regional settings on your device are set to a different regional setting, so the numbering system is different and it doesn't recognize the columns properly. For example, it uses a semicolon instead, then you need to change your regional settings. Okay. Because if you don't, then it's going to cause some issues. And again, quite a few people have contacted me about this and they said, when I try to do this, I get import errors. And the reason is because their regional settings are not set to comma. And I'm going to show you how you can find this very quickly. So if I just go to my Windows here, go to settings, actually control panel. From my control panel, I make sure up here I've got the small icons. So in this menu over here, it just makes it easier for me. And then from here, I can go to region. And in region, you can see here, if I go to additional settings, I can see here that it's got a digit grouping symbol. And here's your list separator. The list separator here should be a comma. If it's not a comma, you've got something else, then it's not going to be able to import the CSV file, because the CSV file has got commas and your computer's not set up with the regional settings to identify the comma as the separator. So what do? The easiest way is if you go back and change the format. So from here in your region, change the format to English United Kingdom. And that will automatically, once you've saved that and applied that, you will see here that your list separator is a comma. Or you could just change the list separator from here. But in any case, that's the issue if you're getting problems importing. Okay, so going back to this, we're going to go to next. From here, we want to set up our fields. And I'm going to go to advanced on that button there. And I'm going to have a look at these. So this should be text, text, text. Okay, so short text. Don't need long text. These are all short text. And then the price should be currency. So I just need to make that, instead of double, we change that to currency. Then I've got packet contains integer. So this should be, I always make this long integer, because if you make it a normal integer and it's got large numbers, like say over 32,000, you're going to get errors, whereas packet is quite small numbers, but doesn't matter. Just use long integer to be safe. Supplier is text, and that is text. Stock level is a numeric integer, so long integer, and expiry is integer. Good. Now, some people say, if it doesn't put here that this, yes, here it's got yes duplicates, okay. Now, seed ID is going to be your primary key field. So even if you say here that duplicates are okay, as soon as you make it the primary key field, it really doesn't matter. So you don't need to worry about this column here, not at this level, not for IGCSE level, because it's going to make, you're going to make the seed ID the primary key field anyway. And there's no way it was going to allow duplicates. So you can just leave that there. I'm going to go to OK. I'm going to go to next. My primary key field here is going to be the seed ID. And then I'm going to go to finish, and I should get only one table. So as soon as I click on close, there we go. We can see I've only got one table. Now I need to open this table go to my design view, and I need to check everything is okay. And if we have a look in the question paper, there really isn't anything to change here. Price should be currency, 2 decimal places. Everything else is quite basic. So I don't need to do anything. Even the currency here, it doesn't have a format. I'm just going to leave it empty. I don't need to choose it to be euro or dollars or pound signs, because if I leave that empty, it's going to use the default value, and that will be the same for everything that I use and set as currency. So this will prevent me from making a mistake by, if I set this to, let's say, pound sterling, English pound sterling, and then the other one I forget to do it, then one might show euros, the other one might show pound sterling. So I'm just going to leave that as default. I'm going to take a screenshot now. And what I'm looking for in the screenshot, and you have to be very careful, are these things here. You need to make sure that the name of your table here is visible. You need to make sure that the primary key, the little key here, is visible. And all of the field names here and all of the data types are visible. So all of these have to be in your screenshot. I'm going to go to my evidence document, which I've already made, and I'm going to paste that there. And I don't need it to be too big, as long as it's nice and clear and readable. That's step 14. Control S to save, and I can now move on. So that's finished. I close anything that I'm not using. Now I go to my question paper. I've done that. I've done the evidence for question 14. I can go to number 15. It says here, import the file M2521 orders.csv as a new table in your database. Set the reference field. So I want the reference field as the primary key. Use these field names and data types. So what am I looking for here? Here I need to be careful from what I can see with the date format. This needs to be a medium date format. And I know it's medium because of the 3 M's here. And this is what it should look like. So it shouldn't have the whole month, let's say October. It should just be OCT. And that goes with this one as well. So that's something I'm going to have to do. These are all text. And this is going to be a Boolean, and it needs to display yes, no. Place in your evidence document. Okay, so let's go and import that now. Again, I'm going to go to external data. I'm going to go to new data source, from file, text file. From here, I'm going to browse, and I'm looking for orders. This one here, open. Now, this is going to import as a new table. So I'm going to go to OK. Make sure everything's readable here. And obviously, I don't need to worry about my list separators here because I've already done the first one. It's worked. So I'm going to go to next. The first row contains field names because I'm making a new table. From here, I can go to next. So here is where I'm going to set up my field names and data types. So I'm going to go to advanced. And in advanced, I want date placed. So that should be date with time, date with time. The issuer should be text, reference is text, and the seed is text. And I can see these are all short text. There's no long paragraphs there. Packets should be an integer, so I'm using integer here, long integer. And page should be yes, no, so I need to make that into a yes, no field. Again, we're going to modify the formatting of the dates in a short while. Again, don't worry about whether something is indexed or not in this section here because we're going to set the primary key field in a minute. Click OK, go to next. And here I'm going to set my primary key field to reference. And I'm going to go to next and finish. And close. And I should get one table. Here it is. Now, if you do get a second table and it says errors, you need to delete both the tables and start again. But first, open the table that says errors and see which fields are causing the errors. And it probably means you used the wrong data type. So you used, let's say, number field for a text value. So I've only got one table. I'm going to open this up. I'm going to go to design view and I need to check everything here. So for the date time here, at the bottom here, I'm going to go to format. So I select date time, go to the format. And from here, I want to choose this one. Can you see the date here? This is the longer version here. We want this one, the one that only has the first 3 letters of the month. So the medium date. So I'm going to set that to medium date. And the same with this one. I need to set the format to medium date. Now, the Boolean here, you have to be really careful here and just make sure that you select this, go to the format, make it a yes, no field, and then in the lookup, make it text box. Okay. And now when you click on save and go to normal view, you should see the words yes and no here. If you don't, then you can go back and modify these settings here, changing that to yes, no, and changing that to text box. Now, if it will not let you change it from checkbox to a text box, so let's say it's stuck on checkbox, then you need to delete the table, import it again, and as soon as you import it, you need to come to the design view and modify the paid, the Boolean one here for paid, and change it straight away and save it. Once you've actually saved this and you haven't saved it properly with text, sometimes Access is a little bit fiddly. It won't let you change it from a checkbox to a text box. So you need to delete it and do it again. Okay, so from here, I'm going to take my screenshot. Again, I'm going to make sure that the table name is visible, my primary key is visible, field names, data types, everything visible, and I'm going to paste that. Oops. There. Again, want it easily readable, but not too big, so it's comfortable. And I'm not going to have another screenshot here, so I'm going to move step 16 to the next page. Okay, so Control S to save. Okay, so from here, I'm going to close this table as I'm finished with it. And we're going to go to the question paper. Okay, we're going to go to number 16 now. So it says here, create a one-to-many relationship between the seed ID field in the seeds table and the seed field in the orders table. Place in your evidence document a screenshot showing. So we need to create very quickly a relationship. So to create the relationship, I'm going to go to database tools at the top, click on relationships. Now, if you do see these relationships up here, these are already inserted automatically by Access. You can just ignore them. Don't worry about them. They're built in automatically to make searching faster. You can just scroll down a little bit, and I want to add my two tables. So from here, I can either click on the button at the top that says add tables, or I can right click, show table, makes no difference. We see our tables here. So I'm going to double click on one and double click on the other one. If you add the same one 2 times like I've done here, you need to get rid of one of them. So I'm going to select that one and press delete on my keyboard to get rid of it. So we've added the 2 tables 1 time, and I want to connect the seed ID with the seed. So I'm going to click on this one, drag it, and drop it on top of this one here. Now, this is the screenshot we would like, but here it says edit relationships. That's not what we want. So, and because it's got the word here, create, it means I haven't created it yet. So I'm going to click on create. Now that I've created this, I want to take my screenshot, but don't take a screenshot just of this. The best screenshot is this one. Now double click on the line, drag this underneath, and take a screenshot which shows all of this. That shows confidence, and it's very clear that this is a one-to-many. You can see that down here that is a one-to-many relationship. It is showing the table, so from the seeds table seed ID and from the orders table seed, everything is there and it's nice and clear. So this is a perfect screenshot. We're going to add that for step 16. Again, that's a bit big, so I'm just going to make it a little bit smaller, but not too small because I want it easily readable. I'd rather make it bigger than smaller. Control S to save. And now that I've finished with my relationship, I can click on OK. And oh yes, and the other thing that what they're looking for here is the word here, OK. It doesn't say create. Okay, so this word here, because before you actually create it, it says create here. And if you use that screenshot, you will lose the mark because you haven't actually created the relationship yet. Okay, but this word OK means you have. All right, so we can close that, click on OK, and we can close the relationships. Do I want to save? Yes, I do. And that's it. Never have anything open unless you're working on it in Access because it can cause issues. All right, let's go to the question paper. Number 17, it says in the orders table, locate the record with the reference this. ON 5826. I'm just going to copy that. Now, I'm going to show you guys, once you found this, it says amend the details as follows. So packet should be 4 and paid should be no. Check your data entry for errors. Now, I'm going to show you what I've seen a lot of students do wrong in this particular exam. So what they would do, they would open the orders table. So here it is here, and they will do a find. Now, in Access, there's two. So in this table, you're going to find the record, and that's fine. But there was a question in another paper that we'll look at, and it told you to filter the data. Filtering and finding are two different things. When you filter, let's say I want to filter based on something here, I can then, I don't know, choose that one, click OK. Sorry, let's do all of that. Select all or remove all and just put these two here. So here I've actually filtered my data set. It hasn't removed any. That's a filter. But in this case, it's not asking me to filter. It's asking me to find it. So I'm just going to put select all and click OK. So from here, I can simply do Control F. This is going to open up the find and replace. I'm going to paste the value I'm looking for. Now, it says here, look in current field. Now, the current field is wherever your insertion point or whichever block you've got selected. So if I've got this one selected, it's looking in reference. So the easiest way is, instead of the current field, change that to the current document. And that means it's going to be looking for this value in all of the data, in all of the fields. And then it wants match the whole field. So only if a field has all of these characters and no more and no less, has to be exactly the same, will it find it? So let's try that. Find next. There you go. It's found it here. Okay, so it's found that item there. Now, if I didn't say the whole field and I did this, just ON58, then that's going to be, if I do that now, any part of the field, it's going to find all the ones that have ON58. And can you see all of these ones here have got ON58? So that's the difference. So let's just undo that. And I want the whole field. And there it is. So click on close here. I don't need that. It's found the field. I want the packets to be 4. So I'm going to change that there. And paid to be no. It's always good to have a look and see how no is spelled somewhere else, whether it's capital letter or not. So here you can see it's a capital letter and an O. And then I'm going to click on a different field. And that data now has been saved, that and that. So I can now close my table. Do I want to save? Yes. So that data has now been saved. So again, read the question carefully. If it says filter, then you have to filter the data. If it says find, you just have to find it. Or if you just want to change the data of a field, you just need to find it. You don't need to filter the data from there. So we're going to go to 18. Now, question 18 says, using fields from both tables, produce a tabular report that. Now, whenever we're doing anything inside database or Access, whether we're going to create labels or we're going to create a report or we're going to create an extract, the first thing you have to always do is generate a query. For every single report, labels, extracts, you have to generate a new query. So keep that in mind. I have a lot of students, they just jump into the report and they create a report based on the table, not on the query, which is wrong. So straight away, I'm going to have to create a query. It says here, I need to select the records where the type includes the word been. Now, if you don't understand the difference between what the query does and how it works, I've got a tutorial on that. So if you go into my playlist of Access, it actually goes into queries and reports, and it explains everything there. Then it says, show only the field type, variety. So all of these ones here in this order, and they show in this order. Do not group the data. Sorts the data into descending order of seed ID, and then ascending order of date placed. So we can see we've got two sorts. One has priority. First, it's descending order of seed ID and then ascending of date place. That's secondary. Has page orientation, fits on a single page wide, has this title, and we've got some totals here. So this first part here, from here to here, that's all part of the query. All of these are part of the report. So we need to generate the query. The query is what filters all the data. So let's go and do this part here first. And I always begin from this line here that says shows only the fields, and I add all of these fields. So that's what I'm going to do now. So from here, I'm going to go to create, query, design. Let's just get that away. So from create here, we're going to go to query, design. That one. I can close that for now, and I'm going to add my two tables. So that one and that one. Again, if you add another one by accident, you need to remove it. You must only have the two tables that you generated here. I'm going to drag that up. Okay, so it says here, shows only the fields variety, seed ID. So I'm going to go to variety, seed ID. Sorry, field type and then variety. So I'm just going to select these like that, right click, cut, and I'm going to type that in. So type, variety, seed ID, date placed, packets and issuer, packets, and then issuer. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fields. And here I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fields. Great. So I've added my fields. I'm going to just run this to see what I've got. That all works perfect. There they are. Let's go back. So I've done that part there. The next part, it says selects the records where the type includes the word been. So includes. So when we're doing an includes, let me just go put this. Let me just type this out here so it looks. So if you do, for example, like, and I put beans, is it bean? Yeah, bean. Then this thing here, so if I use this for my criteria, then it's only going to find the ones in that field where it contains the word bean and only bean. If it has anything else, it will not return it. If I put like star bean, then it will return all the ones that end in the word bean. Okay. So let's say you got black bean. That one will be okay. Let's say you got beans in a field. It won't return that because that's got an S at the end. So this will return everything which has ends in the word bean. If I do, for example, bean star, like bean star, then that will return all the value, all the records where in that field they begin with the word bean. So it has to start with the word bean. But I want all the ones that contain the word bean. So to do that, I'm going to use like star, bean, star. So it can have anything at the beginning, anything at the end, but it has to contain somewhere the word bean. It can be at the beginning, it can be at the end, or it can be in the middle. So that's basically my criteria. So let's just go back to my database here, and in the type, so in the type field here, I'm going to put like space star bean star. And now I'm going to run this to make sure it works. So if I click on run, there we go. So if I have a look at the type now, you can see all of these have the word bean somewhere. This one here has the word bean at the end. This one has the word bean at the beginning. This one has got the word bean in the middle. So all of these contain the word bean somewhere. Good, that works. We can go back to our question paper just to check everything. So we've done that part. We've done the second one. Not going to sorts the data into descending order of seed ID and then ascending order of date place. Now, I don't need to do this in the query part. The sorting is something of a controversial argument. Some people prefer to do the sorting when they're doing the report at the beginning. Some people prefer to do it in the report in the design view. This is your own preference. I'm going to show you something which helps me in this tutorial. So I'm just going to click on save because I finished everything that I want in this part. So I'm just going to click on save. I'm going to call this Q for question 18 or query 18. And that way I know which query this is. I'm going to click on OK, and I'm going to close my query. Now, I need to generate my report. So I'm going to go to create. I'm going to go to report wizard. I'm going to make sure I choose the query which I'm going to base my report on. So it's query Q18. I'm going to add everything, and everything's in the right order because that's how I added it. Type, variety, seed ID, so on and so forth. Next. Now, here it said it doesn't want any grouping. If I create my report based on this table seeds, you can see it's going to group everything under the table seeds. So everything that I got from seeds, the type, the variety, the seed ID, and then everything else underneath. I don't want that because it said no grouping. So if I click on this one, we can see there is no grouping here. Okay, so that's the correct one. Next, I don't want to add any manual grouping. So let's say I wanted to group everything by packets. Then it will put the packets and everything else underneath and then the next packet. But I don't want any grouping. So again, I'm going to get rid of that. Move on. Next. Now, here's the thing. If now I apply my sorting, then it's going to mix up the order of the fields, and I need to remember to go and put them in the right order afterwards. In this particular example, I'm going to do them from here. In the next report, I'm going to do them the other way. The reason I'm going to do this from here is this, because this helps a lot of students. Here's the reason why. It says here, sort the data into descending order of seed ID. Now, many people get confused what the descending means. What does it mean by descending? Now, when it's a number, that's kind of easy. You're going from the highest to the lowest. So the highest number at the top, and as we go down, we're descending. But when we get to the date placed, a lot of people get confused. What is ascending? Is it going from the earliest date to the latest date, or from the latest date to the earliest date? And a lot of people are confused by that. And this is why, if you're not sure what the descending or ascending is, then you're better off doing it from here. And that's what I'm going to do. The reason why, you don't need to worry about highest to lowest or lowest to highest, because I want the first sorting order to be descending seed ID. I choose seed ID and I say descending. I don't need to worry about what's smaller, larger for descending. It will do it for me automatically. And that's the great thing about using this method. And then I want the second sorting to be date placed in ascending. So here I'm going to put date placed, and I'm going to leave that on ascending. And that's fine. I'm going to leave that like that. Next. Now, for the report, it says portrait orientation. So there's portrait. It's tabular. Next. And I'm going to preview my report. So I'm going to go to finish. And here's my report. Now, what we're going to notice straight away is that the order is messed up. It should have been type, variety, seed ID, date. But because I did the sorting when I was doing the report, it put the seed ID and the date placed first. So it's mixed up the order. I need to switch them around. Okay, so there's advantages and disadvantages. So it's done the sorting for me, but the order is now wrong. So I'm going to close the print preview, and the first thing that I'm going to do is to move these around a little bit. So the easiest way to do this is I'm going to click in an empty area here. I'm going to drag over the seed ID, make that smaller. Let's just drag that out the way. I'm going to make everything just a little bit smaller. And then can you see I'm selecting the fields and the data at the same time, making everything smaller. And that's just going to allow me to move things around a lot easier. So here we go. I'm going to take the seed ID and the date place, drag them over now over to the right, take these two here by drawing over them, and the type should be the first one. The second one should be variety. So I'm just going to drag these over here, take variety, and bring that over here. And before I continue, I'm going to have a look and see, can you see the type is being cut off? So I'm just going to expand that now. Since I'm working, I might as well do everything in one go. Let's check that. Nope, I need, you can see here, French bean climbing. I just need a little bit more space for that. I want to do this in real time with you guys because I have found that this is one of the bigger problems that students face. Okay, so let's check my variety. I need to expand that a little bit as well. No, variety needs a bit more space as well. Let's just drag all of this over. Okay, that fits everything, both of those columns. Now, the next one that I want is type right seed ID. So here's my seed ID. That's in the right place now. So I can just bring that over to the left. Let's check and see if it fits. Seed ID is fine. Then the next one is date placed. So I just need to expand this to make sure the heading fits nicely. Date placed. Doesn't need to be too big. Check that. And you see, every time I change something, I check it. Good. Design view. After date, I want packets and then issuer. So here are packets. Not sure how big that needs to be. Yeah, packets is fine. And the issuer is just fine. It fits everything. So I'm just going to, since I've got a little bit of space here, I can just make that just a little bit smaller to give it a bit of space. And there we go. That is fine. That is a perfect report. Everything is in the right order. My sorting is correct because my sorting is in order of seed ID descending. So it's going from 3, 3, 3, 5, 4. Okay, so 300. And from the 300, it's going down and it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And here I've got the 300s and they're the same. The date placed is actually changed from the 3rd to the 7th to the 12th. Okay, so that's ascending. So that was one way of doing that report. Let's move on to the question paper. So we have now done, oh, what is that yellow line there? Let's get rid of that. Okay, so we have now done includes, so we want that text here as a title. So let's copy that, jump back over here. I'm going to go to my design view, change that title at the top. Make sure it fits nicely. You have to type everything exactly as it's seen. So capital letters, small letters. Then I want calculates only the total number of packets ordered and places this below the packets field at the end of the report. So from here, and then I want this title to the left of that value. Okay. Okay, so let's now jump back over here. Now, what I'm going to do here is the following. So when I want to add when I want to count records, that basically means how many rows are there in the selected data. For example, let's say in this record set here, I had only 10 lines. Okay, so from here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So let's say my table ended here on number 10. If I count records, then that will return 10. If I count, let's say one of these numbers, let's say on the seed ID, or let's say on packets, let's say this one here didn't have a number in, and I counted the values for packets, then the answer would be 9 instead of 10, because there are only 9 entries for packets. So let's say one of these was missing, it was empty there, and I only had 9 of the records of the 10 records that had a packets value. Then the number of values, when we count the values for packets, it will be 9. But if I count the records, that will be 10. So the records is how many rows you have in that data set. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our design view. I'm going to click on my packets, go to totals, say count records. And that's going to put here, you can see the formula for counting the records. Count equals count in brackets star. So let's check that. Let's go to my normal view, go to the bottom, and you can see I've got 26 records here. So that's fine. Now I'm going to go back to design view and I'm going to add the title it wants to the left of that. Again, for the title in my report design, I need to choose a label, not a text box. A text box is something that you want somebody else, when they're looking at your report, to type inside to give you data. We just want a label to display something. So I'm just going to select that, draw a little label box, and add my total packets. Okay, now I can make that right aligned if I want, just to make it a bit easier just to make it look a bit prettier. There we go. And if I go down, it says total packets 26. That's fine. So we've done includes only been ordering as a title, calculates the total number of packets and places. We've done that. Okay, so what we've got now is I've got this part here that says display your name, center number, and candidate number on the report. All right, now it doesn't really say where exactly to put it on the report. So I've always got this thing. I know from this because I've seen the data that we've got on here. If we have a look, there's only a small piece of data, so it fits on one page. So you can actually put this in anywhere you want, in the page header, the page, the report header, or the report footer, or whatever. And it really doesn't matter. But I always put things in the page footer, just in case there's more than one page. My details will go or be placed on that page as well. So to do this, I'm just going to go to my design view. And we've got here where we've got the page footer. We've got these placeholders here. I always get rid of these. I don't need them. And I'm going to create a label. I'm going to place this towards the right. Enter my details. And then I'm going to click away, select the object, and just right align it so it's nice and neat. And if I have a quick look here, there you go. My details are there. And if I do go to the print preview, file print, and I go to my preview, I can see that my details are on the page footer. And if there was a second page, there isn't, because I can see down here, it only says one page. There's no arrow there. Then my details will be there as well. Now, at this point, I do actually want to go over something which I notice with a lot of students, a lot of mistakes that you guys make. And that is when you're creating your design view. So if I go to my design view here, you tend to expand this area here a little bit. Okay. For some reason, I don't know why, you expand this, and I really don't get it. But what that's going to do is when I go to my report view, it makes every record taller. And that, as a result, if I go to my preview now, I've still got one page, just about. But if I make it any bigger, then it's going to go to 2 pages. There's no reason to expand these at all. Okay, so please do not mess around with these things, because sometimes it might say that the report has to be 1 page, and you end up with 2 pages and you can't get it to fit. So if that happens, or if it does want 1 page and it doesn't fit, what you can do, these are usually, aligned somewhere around there. You can move these up a little bit, and then you can make this area just slightly smaller. That will make everything a little bit more compact. And you can see here, everything is a bit more tight. We've got a lot more space. And even if you reduce this area here by 1 millimeter, just this little bit here, or then 1 millimeter over 24 records, that's going to be 2.5 centimeters. That's a lot of space saved. So if you are, let's say you do have a record or 2-3 records on the second page, and you want to fit them in the 1 page, that's one thing you can do. Just what you want to be careful of, you don't want to take this too much, like that, for example. You want to check everything, because it might be things that have like a P or a G. There you go. Can you see here where it says the word ping? You've got that G. It's cutting off a little bit there. So that would be a mark loss. So you want to be careful and just double check everything. Make sure everything is visible. That's a bit too much. There we go. So please don't mess around with the distances here, because it will just, mess everything up for you. Okay, so that's that. Let's go have a look at our question paper. So it says here, save and print your report. Place in your evidence document a screenshot showing the database formula used to calculate the total number of packets. So I might as well get that first. So from here, go to my design view. And what I want is that formula there. So I'm going to take my screenshot. I'm going to take a screenshot of that. And I'm going to place this. It should be number 18. There it is there. And just place that there. Okay. Have I got enough space for 29? Probably yes, so I'll leave that there. Let's just move that down a bit. Control S to save. Now, to print my report, again, I'm just going to go from my normal view. I'm going to click on save. I'm going to go to File, Print. From print, I'm just going to do a print preview. Always do a preview before you print. Scroll down to the bottom. You can see it's got my details here. It's got that, here's a little mistake. Can you see where it says total packets? The P has got that little line chopped off. I would lose a mark for that. So that's why I want to the print preview. But also I've got here, it's only one page. I don't have a right arrow. So that's all one page. That's perfect. So I'm just going to close that and fix that little P section. So I'm just going to click on that, make that a little bit bigger. There you go. And now if I preview, there you go. Packets is nice and total. I'm going to click on save. Now I can check it again. File, print, preview. There you go. That looks perfect. Nothing is cut off. And can you see how important the preview is? And then from here, if all is good, you can go to File, Print. Choose your printer. Go to Print. Choose your printer and print it. All right, great. That's number 18 done. So I'm going to close this. I'm finished with that. And we're going to jump over to the question paper. Okay, number 19, it says here, using fields from both tables, produce a tabular report. So I'm going to be producing, again, the first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to produce a query. Have to create a query first. And then I make the report based on the query. Selects only those records where paid is no, stock level is more than 0. All right. And again, as always, I'm going to start off with this part here where it says shows only the fields. I'm going to go add all the fields first, and then I'm going to filter it out. Sorts the data into descending order of supply. This time I'm going to do the sorting the second way. So I'm going to do this bit here first, which is the query section. And then I'm going to do this in the report section. So let's go do the query. So again, we're going to go to create, query design. We're going to add both tables. Again, if you add an extra table, you need to get rid of it. And I'm going to add everything it tells me in the order it tells me. So it's only the fields date, placed, date, completed. So date placed, date completed. Let's just bring this up a bit. There. Then I want seed, price, packets. Seed. Be very careful with seed and seed ID. Okay, seed, price. Price is here. Packets is here. Paid, type. Paid and type. And then I want stock level, issuer. Stock level. And then I want issuer and supplier. So this is probably going to be landscape, supplier. So I'm going to count these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 fields. Over here I've got, let's just go check them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in that order. Okay, so I've selected them. So now I'm going to run. I want paid is no and stock level is more than 0. So before I do anything, I'm going to click on run. I'm going to have a look at the paid one. So here's paid. That's a yes, no field. So I can do that one straight away. So if I go into paid, I'm going to put here no, and that's going to find everything that equals no. Let's run that. There we go. So the paid is only got the value no. Go back to design view, and I want the stock level is more than 0. So let's go have a look at stock level. Here it is here. So I only want the ones that are more than 0. You can see I've got 2 here, which are actually equal to 0. 3, here's another one. So those will vanish. So I want to go back to design view. Stock level, I'm going to put greater than. Be careful with your greater than symbols and less than. Greater than 0. Run that. And you can see those ones are not included anymore. Great. Let's go back to our question paper. So we have completed that. We've completed that. I've added everything. The rest is to do with sorting and to do with the report. So this was a really easy query. So let's just go back. I'm going to save this. So I'm going to click on save. That's going to be Q19. Click on OK. I'm going to close that now. This report was from the first one. So I'm just going to right click and rename that and call that report rep 18. So I know which report that is, just in case I need to go back to it. And now I'm going to create another report. So report wizard, I'm going to choose query 19. I'm going to add everything. Everything is in the right order. So I'm going to go to next. I don't want any grouping. It didn't say anything about grouping, so no grouping. Make sure you choose the table which does not give you any grouping. So here you can see this one gives me grouping based on seeds. So I need to make sure I've got this one. Go to next. I don't want any manual grouping, so I'm not going to select anything here. Next. Sorting. Now this time the sorting I'm going to do from the report wizard, so I can show you what the difference is. And the sorting, it says the supplier has to be descending order. Now, we're going to see what that means in a second. So what is the supply? It's probably a name. It's alphabetical. And again, if you're not sure, then you would do this from here. You will go here and you will click on supplier. And you will do that so that it's in descending order. And usually that's what I would do. But this one's got a lot of fields and I know what it means by descending. So if you take the alphabet from A to Z, if you think of A is 1, 2, 3, 4, and Z is 26, then what that means is that going, if we're going descending order, we want to go from the highest to the lowest descending. So we're going from Z to A. Okay. So we'll see that when we're doing the grouping in the report design. Go to next for now. I want this to be landscape. I'm going to go to next. Preview the report, finish. Now, because I didn't do the sorting in before while I was creating the report, then all of my fields should be in the right order. Now, they're a bit messed up. I need to change the size and adjust all of them, but these should be in the right order. So if I just close the print preview, we can see it's got everything in the right order. Date placed, date completed, then the seed, price, packets, all of these in the right order. It's just they're a little bit big. So first step, I'm going to select these big ones here, make them a bit smaller. Drag this over as well. So I'm just going to, what I'm doing now, I'm basically generating space to expand everything, and that will help me to make all of these fit nicely. I'm just dragging everything over to the right. They're in the right order, so I don't need to mix anything up. The seed is quite big here, so I'm going to make that a bit smaller. And again, I'm going to do this in real time. You can fast forward this if you want. So I'm just going to select these two. These two are the first two ones. I'm just going to make them a little bit bigger. Make sure that the fields are correct. So let's have a look. Okay, so they fit. Date there, it doesn't fit. So that one there needs to be a bit bigger. There we go. And I'm just going to take that quite close to the other one. Make sure it fits. There we go. And now I'm going to go add the rest of them slowly. So the seed is actually okay. Price again is okay. It's quite small. It's only a small field, so I can make that a little bit smaller. Have a quick preview. So there we go. Seed is there. Price is there. Packets again is quite small. These I'm just going to bring the seed out a little bit so it's not so close. There we go. Bring the packets out as well. Then paid is a yes, no field, so that's only small. Again, I'll do one or two. I'm going to go check them. Make sure everything fits. Nothing is being cut off. Yes. So now I'm going to go to my type. That needs to be a little bit bigger. And because it's a text box, I need to go have a look and make sure nothing is cut off. Nope, that's fine. Then I want stock level. Make sure the field at the top is totally clear. The issuer is a text box. So again, I'm going to make that a little bit bigger. Let's have a look. So stock level, issuer, and my supplier, I need to expand a little bit here. Hopefully that will fit nicely now. Yes. So everything there fits nicely. I can go back. Now, from here, sorts the data into descending order of supply. So let's go do that now. So how do we do the descending from here? So from the design view, I'm going to, from my report design view here, at the top, you've got group and sort in the report design ribbon, this one. When I click on that, it opens the group and sort here. I want to add a sort. So I'm going to click on the sort, and I want the sort to be on the supplier. And when I do that, it says with A on top. Now, A is 1. And B is 2, C is 3. So if we think of it numerically, so with A on top, that means I'm going to be ascending. I want to be descending. So I'm going to change that with Z on top. So that will be going downwards. And can you see, if you don't understand this, you're better off doing the sorting when you're creating the report. It will do it for you, but you need to make sure that you bring supplier to the correct position, which is at the end. If you do it in the report design, it's going to bring supplier as the first one. Okay, so there's a price to pay either way. Okay, so my sorting is done. Let's go and check it. So in there we go. It goes from T going down to A, so that's descending. Okay, so we've done that. Has a page orientation landscape? Yes. Fits on a single page wide? Yes. Includes this title displayed in stock in larger font at the top. So I'm just going to double click in here. I'm going to paste that there. You're going to be typing this, so you need to make sure you put the capital letters and small letters exactly as they're given to you in the question paper. So I've done that. Has your name, center number, and candidate number in the header of the report. Now, it doesn't say the page header or the report header. So as long as it's got it somewhere at the top. Now, this doesn't matter because if we have a look, this is only one page. Okay, so you've got a choice. You can either put it in the report header or you can put it in the page header. Or you can just put it up here where it's got this blue title. You can put your details up there as long as it's somewhere at the top. So this is your page header where you've got all of these here. So if you wanted to put it in the page header, what you would do is this. You would expand the page header a little bit like this. Now, if it was more than one page, then this is what you would need to do because you want, I'm going to drag all of these field headings down, not too far down, just a little bit down like that. So it fits everything still. That gives me some space at the top of these where I can put a label now and I can put my details here. Now, if you put your details in the page header, then if you've got 2 pages, your details will be there. In this case, it's only 1 page. Doesn't matter. So I'm going to put this anyway for good practice. I'm going to right align it so it's nice and neat on the right. And now when I go to normal view, you can see it has my details at the top here together where the field headings are as well. The other thing you could have done if you wanted to, let's just go to design view, is you could just put everything, put it up here where you've got your heading, and you can put it up here. That would also be fine because it's only 1 page. But this, if you've got 2 pages, your details will only be visible on the first page of the report. So this blue one up here, only on the first page. This one here in the page header will be on every single page of the report. So I'm just going to get rid of the other one. You might as well get good practice and put it in the page header. Okay, save and print your report. So I'm going to click on save. I'm going to call this one, just close that one. And I'm going to rename this now to Rep 19. So this is for report for question 19. And if I open this now, I can now go to File, Print. I'm going to go to Print Preview and just double check everything like before. Make sure nothing is cut off. None of this extra text here is being chopped off. Okay, that looks good. My details are at the top. Everything is there. And now I can simply click on Print and find my printer and print. So that's that report done. Okay, that's it for that report. That was actually 23 marks for those 2 there. All right, so that's the database section. 2 queries, 2 reports. we discussed a little bit about finding the correct primary key using Excel and using conditional formatting. So when we had to analyze the data, that was an important part of this exercise. The other thing that was important was for you to understand that you can use these little tips and tricks when you're adding the sorting. If you're going to do it from the report, when you're creating the report in the wizard, or after, if you're going to do the sorting in the design view of the report, that's entirely up to you. But if you're not sure what is ascending or descending, then you're better off doing this while you're creating the report in the report wizard. But just remember to move everything in the right order afterwards, because it is going to put the things that you're sorting in as the first ones. Okay. Apart from that, this was a pretty nice paper. It was quite easy, 23 marks. And if you liked what you saw, you learned something new, you know the drill, like and subscribe. And if you're looking for task 4, which is the presentation of the chart, or task 1 and 2, which is the evidence document, the word processing, just look in the playlist and you're going to find the other components for this whole paper in there. All right, take care. It's me from sunny Cyprus signing out. Bye-bye.